So, welcome everybody to our Spotlight Express. I am Ishika Bihani, and today we are going to be having a discussion on in India, is unemployment a greater problem or is it unemployability that we are entering into? So, today with me, we have Mr. Rajiv Badoria. He has got more than 37 years of experience in the industry. We can call him as a human resource professional along with being a business leader as well. He's worked with one of the top companies like NTPC, Reliance, Steel Group, and more. And lately, he's become a global speaker, we can say. And one of his taglines that I would really like to comprehend here is Drive the Driverless Car, where he is trying to propose this idea of how can we drive the driverless car? How can we become friends with AI and technology? As well as he also believes that we are not human resource, but we are human beings. So let us hear from the expert today as to what are his viewpoints on unemployment, unemployability, and what does he feel the future of this aspect in India looks like. So welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ishika, for having me here. And very good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on the time one sees this program. That it's a very interesting aspect of the corporate as well as the societal context that we are discussing this issue. And it has become more important also in the context of this recent report that ILO has published, which is all about global employment, or maybe it's more looking like lack of employment. And the projections that it makes are not very, very good. They are all dystopian, that the employment rate will grow at only a pace of 1.5%. And the job market would just not be available. In fact, it would be shrinking for the 7 to 8 million people and youth particularly that will emerge in the next 5 to 6 to 7 years. So the point is that let's understand this. Job itself is a vesting one. What we call job is in fact a anchoring of the past industrial age mindset. What it was, there were standardized operations, there were assembly line operations, and there were jobs to be performed. What we call work, or what we call job, and we mistake it for work, human work. Now, let's understand here. What is this job in a process-based industrial context? What is specified, standardized, and integrated? So one good or bad thing about this is that whatever is specified, standardized, and integrated can be done better. Jobs which are based on these kind of understanding or context of job, programmable and predictable, will go to the machines and more often than not. So then what is work? Work basically here in this context is two aspects. Human work, particularly when I'm saying. The first context, it gives us the meaning and purpose. Now that is holistic work for human context. Now, what is happening? What it is this to with employment, employability, and the emerging markets and trends around employment and work or job, whatever it is. The point is that whatever is more imaginary, involving right part of your brain, creativity, parallel thinking, would be the human domain. And the job market is shrinking, basically.
So that means we do see that there is going to be a shift in the type of job, in the type of skill set that is going to be required.
Absolutely. And so that's right. That's right.
Correct. And we also see that just post-pandemic, all of us, we've seen the global wave of layoffs that have taken place. It has hit almost every sector. It's also hit India as well.
Yes. There has been a global wave of layoffs. In fact, and more in the technology sector. And the one like, say, the sectors which have been most impacted are the construction sector, the manufacturing sector, the informal sector. where the job
Absolutely.
opportunities are, people are very vulnerable to losing their jobs and so-called, opportunities to earn. Tourism and hospitality sector has suffered a lot. And of course, the worst has come on the recent graduates, because when they come out of the college, people, in order to hire them, they say that we require experience. Now, where is this experience available? I mean, they are fresh from the college and they are product of our education system, which does not give them enough of vocational understanding, which does not give them
Correct.
enough
It's an irony.
exposure to work
Absolutely.
and vocation. So the point is that that's very unfair, and we call them unemployable. They are graduates. They are bright students. They are geniuses, in fact, who have been de-geniused by our education system. Now the blame is to be on the education system, and we call them unemployable. That they are 60%, 70% of our graduates are unemployable. Now the point
Correct.
is that uh, work is going to change. The nature of work is going to change, and your employability and employment will more depend now recently, for the sake of artificial intelligence and robotics taking up the programmable, predictable jobs, more by your competence rather than credentials. Now, that is also another change that's going to take place, that your degrees won't carry you too much. It will be your competence that you generate while you are acquiring these degrees. So they can give you a space under the sun, but then to exist there and continue there, and maybe even to get into it, your competence would be of more relevance. Your skills, your knowledge, your domain, intention, and kind of, your value system, and your skills around the totality of management of human skills, the future skills, which are more to do with your having the domain knowledge, the motor skills, and the particular skills that are required, plus those soft skills, which we used to call them, like cognitive flexibility, creativity, critical thinking, and complex problem-solving skills. So that will be
Absolutely.
the context in which the job market is likely to emerge.
Correct. So currently, based on the current situation and the rising unemployment as well as the problem of unemployability, I would like to ask you that, in your opinion, what could be the primary reasons for unemployment in India? Is it only AI? Is it only technology changes? Or do you feel that there are some other primary reasons that are now shaping and leading to an increase in this unemployment?
Yeah, if I were to just kind of, enumerate the reasons, they would be like the skill gap, of course, and the skill gaps required, because what is required now as a part of what I call not only skills, it's competence, which has knowledge, skill, and attitude and values associated with that particular competence that's required. So skill gap is there. They can have many graduates unemployable because they have the degrees, but they don't have these kind of competence which is required. So that's one aspect of it, of unemployment or unemployability. The other would be the rapid population growth, because jobs are not being created proportionate to the rate at which the population is growing. And therefore, that's very important that, this can strain the job market and make it even difficult for everyone to find work. The third reason could be the informal sector is dominant in India. A large portion of India's workforce is, we see, employed in the informal sector. Street vendors, rickshaw pullers, and they lack job security. They kind of, lack benefits, social security, and their jobs can be very unstable. And that is contributing to the unemployment bit in the Indian context. And of course, a slow rate of growth, particularly the manufacturing and the construction sector, and the MSMEs particularly, and lack of investment in these sectors also can lead
Right.
to, and has led to, a lot of unemployment in the Indian context. When the economy isn't doing well, businesses, of course, are less likely to hire new workers. So that's
However,
also one of
but
the reasons.
ironically, just to add to that point, in India, we have a lot of focus, and there have been many government policies with respect to startup, and startups are getting supported. There are various schemes for MSMEs that had come, even you can receive some loans at a lower interest rate and all of that. So in spite of all of that, you feel that somewhere these policies are still lacking, or they've not been able to give out the benefit that was required, and they've actually uh, probably increase the unemployment rate, or what is it?
No, I wouldn't say that far, because they're good. In fact, Startup India, the whole scheme around providing operational support, the seed money, the financial capital, and of course the mentoring process, that's a very good initiative, and that's one of the good initiatives that we have taken as a nation, which many nations have not. So, but
Right.
the point is that it's inadequate. Looking at the proportion of the size of the problem, I mean, any initiative will fall short of. So right now, more such initiatives need to be taken. And besides the policies which support ease of doing business, ease of providing financial support, ease of providing a balance between the rights of the workers and also the rights of those who are the entrepreneurs, who should have the flexibility to size and downsize the kind of the organizations as and when it's required, or by the dictates of economics. So labor market rigidities, factors like restrictions on internal labor migration and complex regulations, they need to be further simplified, and they need to be taken care of, because they ultimately make it difficult for businesses to hire workers they need, and for workers to find jobs that match their skills. So that is
Correct,
also
right.
something that needs to be specifically and generally taken care of. So,
Okay.
and of course, when the economy is not doing very well, there is less likely to hire new workers, as I've said. But there's also a desire on the part of the workers also to continually be also aspiring to get better and better opportunities as the whole economy grows, which is not available, unfortunately, because of the population pressure again. So it is like kind of a vicious circle, which needs to be broken at one point of time, on a dominant scale, so that this whole issue is taken in a more comprehensive, integrated manner.
So, in your opinion, you have mentioned also about how the education and can contribute to probably mitigating this problem of unemployment. So, is it only at the school level, or do you feel it's also at the college level? Or, and what could be the solution? What should change in our education system that could help in mitigating this unemployment?
Right. So let's look at the contributing factors and mitigating factors separately. As far as coming to the mitigating factors, of course, initially, if I were to say, let's look at just the mitigating factors. How do they help create job opportunities, make people employable, help them earn their livelihood, and also purpose and meaning? See, the importance of
Right.
education is there, that, of course, a qualified degree holder can have doors open, an increased earning potential compared to those without formal education. So that's one aspect which education does help a student. Entrepreneurship also, encouraging graduates to create their own jobs instead of solely relying on traditional employment methodology is also something that education can really help us do, in fact. And there are a lot of initiatives the education institutions have taken. They are nurturing entrepreneurs, and they are developing those skills and support which can help them at the school level, as well as more so at the degree level. Now, skill development initiatives also are something that governments and private initiatives, they introduce job-specific skills training programs within the education system or alongside. It can help bridge the skill gap. Now, the potential improvements that need to be made on the education system, we can also discuss separately. But now, coming down to the contributing factors, how does education system contribute to unemployment? Therefore, if there are so many mitigating factors that it can provide, in any education system can and provide to people, to provide meaning and purpose and livelihood to individuals, what's happening today is the context is it's memory by rote. It's the curriculum is very rigid. Memory by rote is being encouraged, and there is lack of vocational attachment to your whole education process, and a lack of industry collaboration is there, which is, of course, contributing to the lack of employability of the students.
Okay.
Entrepreneurship, strategic intelligence, transdisciplinary intelligence, ecocentric awareness, the Socratic intelligence, that's required of today to kind of, navigate through the complex, disruptive times. And of course, moral and ethical intelligence is something that our education system is missing. We are just talking about the IQ, EQ, SQ, and PQ. Now,
Right.
now, those are the four aspects of intelligence which may not necessarily be comprehensive enough to manage the 21st
I would
century
like to
world.
just interrupt in between and just for our viewers, if you could tell us the full forms. I'm sure everyone has heard about IQ and EQ, but
Oh,
they may
yeah.
not know about the
Intellectually.
remaining ones. So,
Okay.
if you could just help them with that as well.
Yeah, IQ will be the intellectual quotient. It gives you
Correct.
intelligence to discern. That's
Mhm.
intelligence, the normal human intelligence that which helps you to decide matters. The EQ is what you call your emotional intelligence, which helps
Correct.
you to correlate yourself with others, understand others, and kind of develop what you call the social quotient, or SQ, which is like
Mhm.
how do you develop your skills to manage society and work yourself way through in the societal complex, navigate yourself through this process. And of course, the PQ is the physical quotient, your
Mhm.
body mind coordination, your capability, your health, and the intelligence to use your physicality and mental strengths in a balanced manner. So these were, in fact, incidentally, Ishika, these
Mhm.
four IQ, EQ, SQ, PQ were called, like, very comprehensively, the human intelligence, basically the
Correct.
aspects of human intelligence. But now, as I've said, there'll be six more added, and there could be many more that I can say, that entrepreneurial intelligence, which gives you an orientation of risk taking, creating jobs for yourself rather than seeking jobs, making yourself job provider rather than seeker of job. The strategic intelligence to actually manage whatever you are given to yourself and perform and transform, because I've told you these are very difficult times. Technology's shelf life is short, and so is the shelf life of an idea. So people have to perform and transform. This is one of the skills that we'll have to learn, to perform and transform
Absolutely.
simultaneously. You cannot live with an idea of the past and continue to do more and more of that, like we generally do. We have to do things different. We have to transform to a new paradigm and also perform, because yes, you just cannot transform in a day. You have to perform and transform simultaneously. You have to also have transdisciplinary intelligence today, because
Mhm.
you have to now have those human skills to manage your life. Life does not, partition itself into domains and silos. Life presents itself to you as a whole. So you have to have
Correct.
transdisciplinary intelligence. You have to have, as I said again, the ecocentric awareness and intelligence, because ecology is the overarching scenario. Even jobs that will be created, interestingly, would be more in the space of green, which will help manage the environment and also decouple economic growth with damage to ecology. And jobs would
Absolutely.
be provided here. And as I say, somebody said that data is the new oil for this generation,
Mhm.
the youth of today, and AI is the new electricity, which will kind of, run through all the processes, systems of ours today and in the future. Green is the new digital. So when you
Green
talk
is the
about
new digital.
digitization of
Right.
technology, we have to find more startups in the arena which is green, and that will become sustainability, or sustainability would then become the new profitable. So data is the
Absolutely.
oil, AI is the new electricity, green is the new digital,
Digital.
and sustainability is the new profitable. So you see the
Right.
whole context of neoliberal capitalist economic system, and what you call the Buddhist economic principles of optimizing production, optimizing consumption, and maximizing human and planetary well-being. The jobs will be created in this space,
Correct.
and they will be the one who will be sustaining the whole system. So
Right.
as students, if I were to kind of, wear your shoes, then students would be advised to look at the context in which the whole change is taking place, and the future that is emerging is not for those, who just remain restricted to their own domains, narrow domains, but you have to have a larger, more holistic perspective, horizons beyond horizons.
Correct.
You cannot just live through with exploiting the known.
Absolutely. So you had
You
mentioned
have to
earlier.
explore the unknown. You have to explore the unknown. So adaptive
Absolutely.
capability, your agility, your audacity to think big is relevant.
Right. So you had mentioned earlier also that, because of the changing technology, the new AI that is getting developed, and all of us, we are living in this technology-driven world.
Sorry, excuse
So
me.
probably most of the jobs could also be, automated, and probably we'll have, the robotic processes that could take up, most of the mechanical or the methodical jobs. So my question to you is that we know that how technology can take away the jobs, can add to unemployment probably. But my question to you is that how can technology and digitization help to create more jobs? Is there a method where if we use the technology and AI in a particular manner, it could help to create jobs rather than we taking it in a manner that it can take away the jobs? I think I'm probably referring to your tagline that how do we drive the driverless car? That is
Yeah.
what is the need of the hour, I feel.
Right, right, right. So now this is the question that really requires some bit of attention from all of us. See, when I say you learn the art of driving the driverless car, what it means is that in today's context, where jobs which are programmable and predictable, more transactional, more rigid, more specified, more standardized, they'll be better done by computers. In fact, there's no doubt about it that these jobs would be lost to humans. So therefore, the jobs like receptionist, the call center person, and the back end jobs, even the
And
machinery
probably
operation,
even the
they'll be
production, manufacturing,
production. Yeah, iotization of productive system. The whole
construction,
machines.
many things.
Yeah, that's automation itself. So these kind of jobs would be lost to the robots, but it
Mhm.
does not mean that we lose opportunities to work. That's what I started with the differentiation of job and work. What we take to be work today is basically nothing but those kind of specified, standardized, and integrated jobs that we're talking about. Those will be lost anyways. You will not have a secretary or a stenotypist. In fact, in data operators, data can be better managed. Coding programmers, they'll all be lost to AI. AI will know how
Absolutely.
to code itself and program itself much, much better than humans. So that whatever is, binary data driven algorithms, whatever
Mhm.
can be reduced to algorithms will be lost. That is how we need to understand. Now, what remains is that we need to, therefore, are we going to become slaves of technology? There's a dystopian future which people are projecting, but I don't believe that, because what happens, artificial intelligence or natural intelligence, there's nothing different about. Intelligence is intelligence. Intelligence created an aircraft, and the
Mhm.
new intelligence and a bigger intelligence will today, greater intelligence will create an aircraft that does not burn the atmosphere. That is the
Right.
difference. So whether we artificial intelligence helps us do or our human intelligence, it's just a differentiation that's silicon based, we are carbon based intelligence. So intelligence will remain important for us. So what kind of intelligence we humans have? We have, instead of algorithms, we have androrhythms. We have those capacity to imagine, to create creatively in a human sense. Creativity is exhibited a lot by the poems that even AI can write today. So paintings can be done, but creativity in the sense of what involves thinking, imagination, human connection, empathy, and these
Mhm.
kind of human only skills, which I said, if you have cognitive flexibility, you can therefore then manage, not just in time can be managed by machines, but just in case can be managed by humans. What is not
Right.
predictable, what is something that has to be imagined, which so humans have to become the masters of technology, not by kind of competing with machines in efficiency, but in their wisdom to think. So you don't become a tool in the hands of the machine, but you remain the master. You have to have the skill of determining the destination where technology goes, or you take the driving car without controlling the steering.
So
So
that means we need to become more creative, more imaginative, and we are the ones who can decide the vision.
and give this complete, keep on matching this wisdom gap that keeps on coming as the technology grows smarter and smarter. The human tendency, the human intelligence is in fact not keeping pace with it, because it cannot keep pace in efficiency if at all it has to. but wisdom to manage it, understand, be more emotionally, more kind of fertile, be more settled in your spiritual and social quotient, be more aware about things that we have to use technology in a particular directional sense. That kind of capability we have to keep developing. If at all we have to keep a means of livelihood, I keep repeating, work will be enough. People say that, no, how can everybody be involved in doing things, creativity? All of us are not creative. Now, that is a question which is asked, how many such jobs would be available? I would say as many jobs, there'll be new jobs which are created, which will require now your capability to manage this godlike technology. Now, that is the
Right.
beauty. How you manage this technology would be the new work arena for you, real work, which will give you a means of livelihood, as also provide you meaning and purpose as humans. So from a human resource, you can become a human being, where you
Absolutely.
kind of, start dealing with work and understanding work as not just a mechanical concept, but as a more holistic, involved concept. It may look idealistic, that in an area, in a country where we are illiterates, more illiteracy is so high, poverty is so high, hunger is still a problem, hygiene issues are not met. How? But creativity will, because that is a human trait. What happens? I'll give you one example. You
Mm-hmm.
go to any school, go to any kindergarten school, and you find the students playing in the playground.
Mm-hmm.
Can you find anybody who is not creative there?
Everyone is creative.
And what happens to them when they pass out from that school? So we are taking geniuses who are creative, we de-genialize them. They are de-geniused when they come out of the school and college. So what is to be blamed? Perhaps our pattern of education. So here, the new education policy, it may take time. And the jobs, of course, would not be lost as such, in a day. Because what happens is that this is also going to kind of, take at least 1-2 generations to build the new infrastructure, which will be, green and digital. As I said, AI would be the new electricity in creating new systems. The buildings will have to be retrofitted to adapt, upgrade to the new, the green economy and the circular economy. So jobs would be in plenty. There'll be enough of construction of infrastructure, provided our schooling system provides us geniuses who can think, who can drive the driverless car, who can control technology, who can use technology as a tool and remain the masters of the destiny, their own destiny, as well as where the technology takes us to, and not just be blindly led by technology. Because what happens today, unfortunately, with the impact of the social media platforms and even this new AI, which is, virtualizing everything, what's happening is that human downgrading is taking place.
Mm-hmm.
I'll recommend all of you to see this movie called Social Dilemma on the Netflix
Okay.
by Tristan Harris. It's been presented by the Center for Humanizing Technology, or Center for Humane Technology. You
Mm-hmm.
must watch this movie. In fact, it tells you all about the control and vigilance that this whole new economy, the control and surveillance economy. They say the computer drives your behavior on the Amazon. All the e-platforms, they are downgrading you. They are forcing you to stay there, in fact, and involve yourself on the social media platform. And with their financial incentives of advertisers, they are using us humans as products. They're providing it free.
Absolutely.
See,
Absolutely.
whatever is provided free to you is ensure that, and I mean, in fact, you have to think for yourself that whatever is available free to you, you are the product in such a
Right.
business model. So don't stop being products. So
So
therefore, this
maybe if I could, because we are a little bit short of time now,
right.
so maybe if just to conclude, it is that there has to be a good change in our education system. Because of the NEP, already there has been a step towards the new change,
Yeah.
but it will take some time to see the benefits of it. But yes, I think all of us in the future have to be more creative as we were when we were in kindergarten, and we need to become more imaginative. And yes, we have to learn the art to master how the technology can help us. We do
Yeah.
not have to become a
Not
slave to
not be
technology.
afraid of it also. Not be afraid of it. Be
Yes,
bold enough
yes,
to pick up the
absolutely.
gauntlet. Pick up the gauntlet,
Correct,
take the challenge,
correct.
and use this technology. But Ishika, just before we end, I think I would just like to make a concluding point, around this whole system of education and digital
Right,
sectors.
right.
Entirely new sectors like e-commerce, digital marketing, data science, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence itself being used to create business models, they will
Mhm.
emerge. These sectors now require a new workforce with specialized skills, creating new job opportunities. So that's where the jobs would be. So what will be our requirement? Skilling and upskilling, unlearning, relearning, and kind of, continue to upskill ourselves.
Correct.
Technology can be used to deliver online training programs, making skill development more accessible, more affordable to a larger, wider population. So this digital divide between rural and urban, within several sectors and societal, hierarchies, we need to kind of, equip the workforce with the digital skills they need for the jobs of tomorrow. So that's one aspect.
Absolutely.
What will also emerge would be freelancing and gig economy platforms. What is
Mhm.
gig economy is something that freelancing and gig, because there'll be few organized in one big corporates, there'll be less of job because for the sake of efficiency, as you have seen, layoffs and outsourcing would become the norm. So people have to develop the skills, not only transactional skills of being what you call involved in those kind of traditional motor skills, but you have to now develop even specialized skills, becoming a specialist doctor, becoming a specialist surgeon, becoming a specialist yoga teacher. That can provide you a job. I mean, you can become teacher and health and caregiver, health sector, tourism. You can develop a lot of those kind of, traits and skills in you, which will equip the workforce with digital skills and jobs of tomorrow, and also more provide you with a more flexible work environment and create opportunities for you for freelancing, independent contracting, and gig worker in this gig economy. So
Absolutely.
this
So
will be
I
one
do
aspect.
feel, yes, so I do feel that
Yeah.
in this short session, we have been able to cater to the reasons of unemployment. And our focus point has been that how can technology help us to combat and mitigate this particular unemployment? So,
Yes,
to conclude
absolutely.
here, you have really helped us understand and given us some good new ideas, even
Mm.
to the youth, that we all have to work towards becoming more creative. If, just to conclude in one sentence, we all have to work towards being more creative and not to be afraid of technology.
Yes,
So,
we need to be more, open to what you call ridiculed. What
yes,
just to end, whatever is useful in the future would necessarily look ridiculous today. So we
today,
don't get,
absolutely.
ashamed of being ridiculed, because there's going to
Correct.
be digital transformation of businesses, improved efficiencies will be brought by technology, which will help us solve a lot of problems. Digital tools will be available, which will promote micro entrepreneurship. We'll have to bridge this geographic divide, and there'll be a lot of urban rural migrants who will be coming and learning, and they need not even come there. They can just sit in the comfort of their home like you and me are talking, and they could need not, this whole migration from rural to urban
Absolutely.
can be stopped.
Technology has brought us to that level
But
that now
of
travel
course,
and location is not a barrier anymore.
right. And
So,
it will be unjust, in fact, to end just, not to put the challenges in consideration. Digital divide, we have to understand. We have to bridge this digital divide, and the threat of automation, not at the cost of jobs, necessarily. They'll not happen also. But we have to be
mhm,
very mindful. We have to use technology carefully, lest it becomes dystopian. And therefore, we have to have a regulation and policy framework in mind. Now, that is where we are lacking today, because this technology should not downgrade us, and people, big technologists and big technology houses should not become rich and rich and rich at the expense of the people, because we
at the
have to be
people.
mindful of
Correct.
the fact
So
that while
proper
we create
regulate.
job, while we grow in the economy, we have to also be mindful of the inequitable world that today is, where six people can own 50% of the world GDP. That is
Right.
something which
So
we
that
need to also take into
rising
account.
Gini index should definitely be, it should not rise further. It should definitely be shorter and maybe a smaller number. We should not have a rising Gini index for sure, where the rich are going to be richer and the poor are going to be poorer.
Uh,
But
they will.
yes,
They will. To some extent, it's unavoidable. But as long as those who are poor become rich enough,
Absolutely.
And
So that
ultimately,
kind of policy making and
yes.
regularization of technology would be required. So I
And
think we should
technology,
leave
Ishika, has
the
the, yes, technology, in sorry to have button there. Technology has the capability to kind of, bridge this, lag into a lead. The people who
yes,
are, don't have access to it, provided you just have to provide them technology access, and they can beat the rest out the world. So this
absolutely.
has to be exploited to the full extent, that it does not exploit humans, in fact. And we
And
kind of, live
technology
in a
and
better
AI
world.
are the method ahead. Anyone who's afraid of it, you are
Yeah.
not getting anywhere because this
No,
is the reality, and the sooner we
and a
accept it.
useful one. And a useful, if you're driving a
Absolutely.
driverless car, it's good not to be sitting there and doing other jobs.
Correct, that you are, but you should just be able to learn
Yeah.
to decide the destination. So
Driving is
that
not a
is an
human
important.
trait. Driving is
Correct,
not good enough. It's wasteful. Security guard jobs. People say that, they
correct.
call that, drivers and security guards would be the first to lose the jobs. There'll be electronic vigilance. Why should a person be awake when the rest of the world is sleeping?
Absolutely.
He should be trained to do better jobs.
Absolutely.
And a driver should be
So
able to
with
do
that,
away
I
with the
feel that
responsibility of driving.
right. So I think with that, we can conclude our session today, where we've spoken about unemployment. We've spoken a lot about AI and technology and how it can help us mitigate, and what is the future roadway, or rather the road map, that how we have to accept technology and move ahead.
And
How
while we do
can
that, Tishika, we must also be mindful of the fact that, as per the ILO report, it says that in 2000, 36% of the youth was unemployed in India. In
absolutely
today's context, by 2020, the same has reached 65%. Mind you,
65%.
65% of the people
And just to
unemployed.
add to that, India is going to be, or rather is, one of that countries that has got the youngest population if you compare it to some other big
Yeah.
economies.
This
So
demographic
this is
dividend we could have got.
exactly. So this is a
And
very
imagine,
alarming fact which
83% of
requires
those who are
immediate
unemployed are
attention.
youth. Yes, 83% of those who are unemployed today are from that category, which are below 35 years. So
Absolutely.
instead of
But our
getting
question
demographic
still
dividend,
remains.
it's becoming a demographic liability for us.
Right, but the question then still remains, that is unemployment the only problem, or are we moving towards unemployability being a bigger problem that needs to be catered
I
to?
think one will feed into the other. It is a vicious cycle. So we have to convert this
Absolutely.
into a virtuous cycle of providing an employability to people and creating new jobs of the new kind, which are more fit to human. Give
With new skill
automation the
sets.
job. Yeah, give jobs to robots what they deserve and give jobs to humans they deserve based on their. Don't de-genius them. We use the genius in the humans for their right part of brain, creativity, and parallel thinking to outsmart the machines. To continue with
Absolutely.
this wisdom gap, the wisdom gap should constantly be filled. Otherwise, intelligence will become super intelligence. And by 2045, they say that point of singularity, intelligence becomes more intelligent than humans. This artificial intelligence.
Absolutely. Where we will become slaves of technology. So we should
Yeah.
not reach that
Unless we
point.
manage
And
it, unless we create the guardrails, unless we develop our wisdom with all those 10
correct.
intelligences that I said, apart from IQ, EQ, SQ, and PQ, the
Right.
entrepreneurial intelligence, the strategic, the transdisciplinary, the ecocentric, I would say the Platonic or the Socratic intelligence, and of course the moral and ethical intelligence. So that
Absolutely.
will strengthen us. So there's nothing to be afraid of. AI will not take away our jobs. Or maybe it takes the jobs which are, yes, they should be lost. They'll be good to lose them to robotics and AI. But we should have new jobs which are more, which make us more humans, in fact. And
Absolutely.
it talks about human well-being and planetary well-being together. It creates a different
Correct.
growth story, which is, not destroying the atmosphere anymore.
Correct. So, on that note, I think we should conclude our today's session. So, I would like to thank you for this
I'm so
enlightening
happy.
session.
And I think we can continue to have such sessions and,
Absolutely. So,
and
thank you,
go.
everybody.